Good morning, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. Get your camera set up. So, thought I'd bring you a little bit of news this morning. It's probably not the hottest news on the market right now, but I thought it was kind of interesting. And Zimbabwe has banned the U.S. dollar as their legal tender inside of their country. They didn't outlaw it completely. You can still own U.S. dollars. You can carry them. You can, it's not illegal to have them, and it's not really necessarily illegal to use them. It's just illegal to use them to make purchases within the country. You can't pay your rent with them, you can't go to the store and use them, things can't be priced out in US dollars. They banned it as a legal currency. But if you're purchasing imports from another country, or what he was referring to, at least in the interview, I'm not sure if it was their leader or their treasury guy or whatever. I was just kind of reading the news on it. But you can airlines, you can use whatever currency they will be willing to accept, whether it's US dollars or Zimbabwe dollars or euros or whatever it is that you happen to have that the airline will accept. But if it's a purchase within the country, with one of the stores, or something that's going on within the country itself, it's not like an import, then you have to use Zimbabwe dollars. And Zimbabwe had just recently gone through a hyperinflation scenario where they tried to outrun their debt by printing up money, and they ended up having these $100 trillion notes that would buy you a slice of bread. And it's kind of a big joke with people about the $100 trillion notes, and I've even seen videos of guys who have wallpapered their room and stuff like that with these Zimbabwe notes because of how worthless they are. But their reasoning for doing it, right, is because the dollar is getting too strong. It's not stable enough for them, right? And so if you can imagine that if you have to come up with US dollars in order to pay your rent, or to order to buy food, or to just to function in life daily inside of your country, and those dollars are harder to get, and your country is printing up more and more money in order to to try and facilitate the exporting of trade, right, to try and get the exports to beef up, but it's harder to get those dollars in. Well, then you start running into a liquidity crisis, and that's what Zimbabwe is getting ready to experience. And so they had to ban the US dollar as part of their legal tender as far as their country goes, and they can only use their Zimbabwe dollars. And we're seeing it in other countries as well. China, I've just recently posted some articles for you guys about China running into liquidity crisis as well, where it's getting harder to get these US dollars in order for them to pay their debts, and they're requiring companies who are, I don't know how they're demanding, I'm not sure exactly how that works, but they're telling them to sell off their foreign assets like real estate in order to come up with the dollars that they need in order to make their payments. So yeah, the dollar crisis is coming. It's going to be a liquidity crisis, and I see it happening. You can see it happening in these foreign countries. You see it happening in China. You see it happening, even here in America. There's people who are starting to feel the pinch of not being able to come up with the dollars in order to pay their bills, their debts. This is where the rising delinquencies is coming from. And strong dollar. It's taking place. I mean, it's happening. Now, of course, we're going to know a lot more information come the end of next month, but I have a feeling that central banks probably are a little more aware of what's going on. Not saying Zimbabwe is some high elitist in the know kind of banking country or something like that, but I would suspect that if they had a feeling that the Federal Reserve was definitely going to be weakening their currency, they wouldn't be going into such extreme measures as far as banning the US dollar from legal tender. I would just not see that. I mean, I would just assume that they would just continue on the way things are, considering that the Federal Reserve would kind of be going in line with the rest of the world. But I don't think Zimbabwe sees that. I think Zimbabwe sees the US dollar getting stronger and stronger, and that's going to put a hurt on their economy. So now they're going to have to, inflict this currency law where you can't use US dollars inside of their country. Anyway, Uneducated Economist, you guys let me know. Yeah, I'll give you a shot of the river this morning. Yeah, right here where you can see it on the other. You guys have a good morning.